You're listening to Pink Lady Presents, only on LA Talk Radio.
I'm gonna live till I die. I'm gonna laugh instead of cry. I'm gonna take the town and turn it upside down. I'm gonna live until I die.
Welcome, everyone, to Pink Lady Presents It Ain't Over Till I and You Say It's Over. You know, my partner and I, Chaplain Dove, co-host of the show here with me, we've been thinking that we are so blessed to have had so many people with lives well lived, showing you that when you are capable at any age to continue a career, don't ever stop until you want to stop. Today, our guest is definitely not stopping. My guest today is a delightful gentleman that I met when I did a show called We Are America last year. And this man delighted our audience every single afternoon and evening. Mr. Oscar Rospide. Hi, Oscar.
Hi, Miss Bree.
He is so adorable. Wouldn't you say that? I mean, just look at him. He has a white hat, tucks everybody. I mean, hello, coming to our studios here. You look wonderful.
Before he begin, I just want to tell the audience something about this man. He was not only in the show. The show had wonderful singers who danced and dancers who sang.
Right.
It was marvelous, and it was done at the Madrid Theater. But he wanted to do more, and so he would go out to the lobby before the show, and he would take requests, and everyone gathered around him, and I listened carefully as people called out requests.
Right.
And nobody was able to stump the master. Whatever they asked for, you did it.
He knew how to play. I mean,
it was
wonderful.
I love music.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Now, you started at a very young age in Argentina.
Yes.
And you were what, about 7?
I was 7, and that was 70 years ago. I'm 77 now.
Young man. I love it. Well, now, your dad was a musician, am I correct?
Yes.
Well,
He was a musician.
What did he play?
He played bass, and I play bass too. I write bass.
Okay.
I'm actually now playing with Barbara Morrison, a great jazz singer.
Love that woman.
I've been playing with Barbara for a year and a half.
Now, where do you
already.
play with her? Where?
In the Jazz and Blues Museum.
And where is that?
That is in Le Maire Park.
Le
Maire Park.
That's
right.
it, yes.
Great.
The Barbara Morrison did that museum, and I had the honor also to do the sign for the museum, the lettering, because
I have to tell our audience,
painter.
Oscar is not only a musician, but he is also an artist. I mean, I know because when we did the show, he did like Pink Lady all over the signs for me, and they were wonderful. The other thing I want to ask you is you made a statement once to some of us at the theater, and you said, Pink Lady, music has always been my mistress. And I never forgot that. I love that line. And tell our audience, what does it mean to you to play like you do?
Well, what's happened is that it has a lot of significance for me, music, because I come from a very poor family, and I was always happy because I was invited to all the birthdays, to all the celebrations. Right, because I was playing, you know. And besides that, because music is love, and love is the beautiful energy that we have to recognize that gonna keep us alive. I don't know, it's so beautiful. That's what you have a lot. You guys have a lot.
And you know, I know that you're going to be playing in just a moment, but before you do that, every time I've seen this accordion, where did this come from? Because it's one of the most ornate I've ever seen. Is it from Argentina?
No. This accordion is from Italy.
Oh,
from
But
Italy?
it was a regular instrument, but I like to put jewelry and all that.
And you seeing this now, everyone, because this is live TV.
Right.
We have jewelry all over it,
Even
beautiful stones. Even on the keyboard, there's stones here.
So when this You didn't buy. Nobody could ever buy this. This is the one of a kind,
No.
made by Oscar
Correct,
Rospide.
correct,
There you
correct.
go.
Yeah, yeah,
An
that's
original.
it.
You get to see an original.
And
I
it's
love
not
it.
for sale.
No, never. Well, never say never.
Well,
You
you're right.
never know. Someone
Yeah.
may have a museum and want to put it in. You don't know.
Okay. You're right.
Anyway, right now, I think our audience really is ready to have a fabulous tarantella type time. So, Mr. Oscar Rospide on his accordion.
Okay, now you announce the tarantella. We're gonna go a trip around the world.
Woo,
Little
yes.
pieces of songs, and because tarantella belongs to Italy, we're gonna go to Italy. So
Okay.
for you that are at home, clap by your hands.
Okay.
All right, Viva Italia!
Where do we go next?
We go to France now. With the waltz,
Paris.
French waltz.
Brings back memories of Pigalle and Montmartre.
Oh,
In the
yes.
60s when I was with the Air Force in France.
Yes, and
Love
there-
it. Next country is?
we're gonna get a little more piece of France. Or some
Okay.
little-
Aha!
I love
Oh, as they say. Oh.
Okay, now I invite you to go to my country, Argentina. Buenos
Argentina.
Aires.
someday. Yep. Oh, I love
Short.
that.
A
Love
little
that.
short,
I
you
love
know.
that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Eh, but
Short
sweet,
but sweet.
short but sweet. Oi, que coisa mais linda, que cheia de graça. É ela, menina que vem, que passa, menina gostosa, caminho do mar. Pa, 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 pa. Ah, se ela soubesse que quando ela passa, é todo gostoso, se cheia de graça. Oh, minha menina, caminho do mar, para, para. Ah, sure.
Okay.
Now, let's go to. We did Brazil. We did. Oh, okay. Let's go to Mexico. I had a nice.
Absolutely.
Yes, okay.
I had a beautiful experience. I was working in a cruise ship, and I was working as a bass player because mainly those are the
okay.
jobs. You know, the works with the accordion are very little. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine who's a fantastic accordion player, I admire him. He told me a circumstance that he had a few years ago in New York, he went to play the accordion on
Right.
New Year's Eve. And the people went crazy. So the owner of the joint told him, listen, man, I want to hire you for next year, New Year's Eve. And my friend said, okay, can I leave my instrument here?
Oh, no.
Wonderful.
So very little gigs, man.
You know, Oscar, before you continue, it amazes me because to me an accordion it just reminds me of weddings. It reminds me of religious fun experiences for people. It's so upbeat and it makes you feel so good. And for the instrument to die, if you know what I'm saying, is such a shame.
Right, but no, it's not. It's been respected in Europe, in South America, Mexico a lot. And all that.
Really? Okay.
And I mentioned that in Mexico. I was working in a cruise ship, and I always play the bass, but I always had my accordion with me. And I play for my friends, and all that.
Right.
And we stopped in Acapulco, and the director of the band told me, listen, it's a group of musicians here. Why don't you bring the accordion and play that Mexican song that you play? It's a song that I love. It's called La Viquina, And the composer is Rubén Fuentes, a magnificent violin player, arranger, and all that. And when I finished playing La Viquina, this man come and tell me, that was a great arrangement. He gave me a hug. And it says, my name is Rubén Fuentes. He was the composer.
Oh, my.
I almost moved in tears. It's
I
just
love
amazing.
That's wonderful.
You probably heard it because it's a song.
Okay. I love it. What was the one song you kept talking about before we started the program
Oh,
today?
the Portuguese
That's it.
washerwoman.
Okay, let's hear that one. Now I know what's I love it. You know what, Oscar? It's way too short a time to have you here. Okay. We have to have you again.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, children all over the world watching this show, I know that it brings a delight for you to see a gentleman of an age still doing what he loves best to do, is entertain the world with his fabulous accordion music. Oscar Rospide. And Oscar, you have a CD, am I correct?
Yes, I
If you
do.
would like to get that CD, is there a place that they can write to? Or I want to have them do
You
this.
have them write to, when
Go
you
ahead.
went on to watch this program,
Please.
you went to the website, pinkladypresents.com, and you saw her email, which is pinklady7@earthlink.net. Just send her an email, say, love the music from Oscar Rospide, would like to get more information, and we'll forward it on, and we'll make sure that happens. Thank you for watching and enjoying as we do.
Definitely.
And nobody enjoys his music
More
more than
than
you
Oscar.
do. You love every minute of it.
A good way to end our program. God bless. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll
be
be
back.
Thank you, folks.
We are back, and we are back with an absolute canon of a gentleman and a show. You know, it's funny. In life, we meet people all the time, as you know. And there are some people that you meet that you instantly know that they're going to become a friend of yours because they have what I call a personality and a character and a spirit that matches ours. And Dr. J. Grossman is one of those gentlemen. When we met you, actually, I met you through UW, am I correct?
Yes, you did.
And his program is called Homeless, Not Toothless. Dr. J. Grossman, welcome to our wonderful audience, who, first of all, doesn't he look like a movie star? I mean, forget being a dentist. You could make money on screen.
That's very sweet of you.
I could
Thank
play
you,
your
Pink.
mother.
Okay.
I would like that.
Write the
That-
script.
Write
Write
the
the script.
I would love that. So I want everyone to know the story about your giving and everything and how you said, you know, what am I doing? And just begin. How did you begin Homeless, Not Toothless?
Sure. So the very short backstory is that I'm from New York originally, if my accent didn't come out, and met a girl of my dreams in the dorms of NYU. I was getting my dental degree. She was getting her master's in social work.
Oh, okay.
Fell in love, came out to visit her folks. We were engaged or maybe even just dating at the time. And it was snowing in New York, and it was 72 in LA.
I know.
It doesn't take much more.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Thank you, Lord. I'm here.
So I moved out here. We were just newly married. I had our first daughter, who was 6 weeks old at the time, and I was looking at her bundled up in New York, and I said, this is the time to make the
That's
break.
right.
And I came out here without a California license.
Really?
And apparently
Okay.
they get very upset if you practice without a medical license.
Oh,
So
really? I don't know why.
Yeah, they
you
just
know,
don't
that's
get it.
weird
Yeah.
that way.
why?
You know?
No sense of humor.
No, none at all.
none.
So I'm living with my in-laws, which was lovely, with our brand new daughter, my wife of a year, and no ability to practice or make money.
Oh, boy.
And I've always wanted to serve.
Okay.
Wearing a uniform always intrigued me. But if I was going in, I was going in to fight.
Right.
But I already had a medical degree, so it just didn't seem like a fit. And then I'm having a conversation with my father-in-law, who served as a doctor in the
Really?
in the Air Force.
In the Air Force. Oh, wow.
He goes, Jay, you might want to consider, enlisting and going in as a dental officer. And I go, that sounds great. And I went to the recruiting station. I spoke to all three branches.
Now, how young were you at that time?
24.
A child. It really is.
So, the next thing I know, the Navy came back and they gave me a base that was very close to Santa Monica. I was able to drive there every day.
Great. Okay.
And I made a deal with them. I said, look, I did well in school. I've got a New York degree. I'm not asking you to pay back tuition. And they said, well, what is it you are looking for? I said, well,
Okay.
I want in writing where the base is going to be, and I'd like to live off base so I could still be with my family.
Okay.
And the Navy said, well, that's great. We would love to put you in Long Beach, and we don't have enough officer quarters, so we're happy to have you live off base. Great.
Wow.
So my family had the experience of Daddy works. He just puts on a uniform. I take out my earring every day. Can't wear the earring. I had this.
Yeah, that's a little much.
I got this when I was 17. I got it in Israel. It was my freshman year abroad,
really?
and it was important to me.
Right.
But, they said,
But those were the days that one did that. I mean, it really is.
Yes.
And a lot still continue today.
Exactly.
But it looks good.
I've had it now for like almost 40 years. I mean,
my
that was
God.
avant-garde for the day.
There you go. You're right.
So, the next thing I know, I'm wearing a uniform and I'm practicing dentistry, and it was great. I finished my first tour of duty. I got out just after the first Persian Gulf War in 91, and they asked me to re-enlist, and I just had my second child,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and it was a ship tour. And if I was single, without kids, in a
heartbeat, absolutely.
in a heartbeat,
I know,
like
I know.
like these ships, they're breathtaking, and I'm like, I did not think it would be beneficial to my family to
If you were away like
be away
that.
for a
Yeah.
few years.
Mm-hmm.
I give so much credit to people that could do that. It's a sacrifice.
right.
It's a sacrifice. So the next thing I know, I open up my practice in Brentwood, in West LA,
Right.
literally walking distance from the VA.
Oh, wow.
And every time that I went home, there was a guy on the corner, veteran, will work for food. We've all seen the signs.
Right.
And I was like, wow, 2 days ago when I was active duty, I treated you for free. Right now, I'm outside of that community.
Right.
Sure.
So I remember reaching into my wallet and pulling out $1. And then the concern, is this going to drugs and alcohol?
That's where it goes, to most of them.
And
To
you're
most
absolutely
of
right.
them.
And
Yeah, it does.
when we say most, we're talking in the high 90%. I mean, it's really to most of them. And I didn't want to enable that. So as I'm looking at the dollar bill one day, right next to it was my business card. And I said, I have an idea.
It came just like that.
Like I'm looking at it, and there was this
Fabulous.
pregnant pause. And I'm looking, I go, you know what, I'm right down the street. I mean, you could walk there in 2 minutes. And I just opened my practice. I got tons of time. I have no patience. So why don't you come in? Let me fix your teeth. Let me get you to look good so you could present for a job. Let me get your teeth to function so you could have an appliance so you could properly
What
nourish.
was the reaction of that first one? I'm just really curious.
Yeah. Well, I've given out card a lot of times.
Right. But the first time.
The first time.
The first
I don't know if I necessarily remember the first time, but I do remember how it felt for me.
Okay.
That I was left, Pink, with saying, you know what? I'm not passing them by and saying, don't talk to me. I don't want to have nothing to do with you. What I'm saying is, I'm willing to teach you to fish. Come to me, and I'll help get you the job, the health, the nutrition, the aesthetics, so that you could move forward with life, as opposed to the dollar giving them the fish.
Right.
So to me, that's where it started.
And you gave it's like giving someone an incentive to do something, to go to you, so that they can then get a job, start to make a life.
It's really
themselves.
permanence versus temporary.
Right.
And when you give people the ability, we always talk about when I was in the service just before you during the Vietnam War, and I remember very distinctly that we came out and we talked to people. We don't give you a handout, we give you a hand up.
I like that.
Let us help you help yourself,
Right.
instead of just helping you and then tomorrow you want someone else to help you.
Yeah.
So that's been what, over 10 years now?
No, we're 26
26
Is
years.
it really?
Yeah, I got out of the service in '91, and I started the program the following year, '92. It didn't become a nonprofit till a few years later,
Okay.
but it started in '92.
Well,
Okay.
I'd like our audience to
we
watch.
have to tell the audience that
Yes.
in the time that you've had Homeless Not Toothless, you have been able to facilitate in excess of how many millions of dollars of treatment?
We just topped $3 million.
$3 million, everybody. When you have an idea and you have a skill and you're willing to enlist the help of the community, there's no limit.
I'd like our audience to watch. It says homeless,
Not Toothless.
not toothless,
Right.
but it's a little bit of how it began. So we're ready.
We're going to roll that.
There we go.
Hi everyone, I'm Jeanette Zeha, your host for Best of Los Angeles Award. And today's spotlight, we're going to feature the nonprofit organization Homeless Not Toothless.
I opened up my practice here in Brentwood with the VA hospital literally within a stone throw of here. Every time I went home, there was somebody standing with a sign, something that said something like, you know, veteran will work for food, or something along those lines. And I felt badly about passing by without doing anything. So there was times that I reached into my wallet and I gave them $1. And then I had concerns a few days later about whether or not that dollar was going to actually food or drugs and alcohol. So many times when I went out to lunch, I used to get an extra sandwich and used to hand them the sandwich. But I realized that really wasn't making a big enough difference. It wasn't doing anything more than getting them through the day. I was looking for a more permanent, long-term solution. So one day when I was reaching into my wallet, instead of reaching for $1, there I saw my business card. And then the idea dawned on me. I'm walking distance from where they are. They could come here. I could give them much more value, much more bang for their buck, if you would, if they would give me a few minutes of their time, because this is what I want my legacy to be, about, you know, a local dentist who's making a difference by enrolling other colleagues and other students that are about to graduate dental school and showing them what a difference one dentist can do when they bring the whole group of the community together. So Bill Macy, or William H. Macy, is an ambassador of Homeless Not Toothless. He was gracious enough to MC the gala where Sharon Stone was acknowledged for her involvement in Homeless Not Toothless, and he's really been a champion for the Homeless Not Toothless program. We're very, very grateful to have him on our team. That is me looking very handsome next to Sharon Stone. I usually don't look that handsome, but there's something about standing next to Sharon that brings that out in you. She asked if foster children would be considered part of the homeless group. And I said, absolutely. They're not living in their homes, they're living in other people's homes. And she and I started a venture where we opened up a clinic just east of downtown in El Monte specifically. And that particular dental community sees over 15,000 foster kids.
Wasn't that fascinating? Friends, if you would like to find out more information about Homeless Not Toothless, definitely check out their website, www.homelessnottoothless.org. I'm Jeanette Zeha, and until next time, I'll see you at the next Best of Los Angeles Award.
Back after you saw that interesting notes on how you began. Another point that I want to ask you, you say here that it's bringing back one smile at a time. When you really think about it, I mean, we all smile, we all talk, the teeth are there. How important is that? And then, to me, were there any people that said to you, no, I don't want that, I'd rather have the money? I mean, how did you feel when they would say that to you?
So the first question was about the teeth. So the teeth do so many things. First of all, without teeth, we're not able to properly chew. And if you can't properly chew, then your nutrition gets affected. Your nutrition gets affected, your stomach gets infected, because either you're swallowing food that's too large, the stomach doesn't know how to actually utilize it, or you're left on a soft diet. So the nutrition's a big issue. The other thing, from an aesthetic standpoint, when you see people, for example, with no teeth, people that have full dentures, their mouth is caved in. So aesthetically, it's also not very attractive. So if you're taking somebody who, let's say, is on the street and you want to uplift them, Dove, as you said, and actually give them a hand up, even if you were able to get them clean and sober, if they don't have the aesthetics, their job opportunities are going to be very, very limited. They're going to be in a cubicle making phone calls if they could properly speak. So there's that. So if we want to actually get them out there, we have to give them something that's at least presentable. And we need to deal with their nutrition. So that's why I was like, one smile at a time.
I love that.
And the second question I lost, Pink.
About people who responded to you with, no, I don't want the dental work.
I mean, there are times that sometimes, look, they are heavy on drugs. They are heavy on things. They don't want to be helpful. They don't understand what you're actually doing. Why are you doing it? I mean, they're like a concern there.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had anybody that verbalized, no, I'd rather have the money. I've had some people look at the card just as you say, what is that? And I said, well, I'm not comfortable handing out a few dollars for you. And I'll buy you a sandwich if you're really hungry. Like, no kid. And I've done that innumerable times. I said, and that's going to take care of the now. How do we take care of the tomorrow? So I said, this is how I could help. And then I've also utilized many other nonprofits in West Los Angeles like Chrysalis, which does it's a nonprofit in Santa Monica. They've been there around longer than me, and they help with job training. And
Chrysalis. How do you spell that?
Chrysalis, like when a butterfly, transforms from a caterpillar. And then there are other organizations that help get them clean and sober, and they're numerous. And then there are other ones that help with job placement. So we've kind of banded together and we refer to one another. So sometimes I get a phone call from one of those organizations, say, I've got somebody who now needs help with their teeth because they're now clean and sober, which is actually how I met John. John Brennan came to me from one of those organizations. And
we're going to hear about him in a moment. I just want to tell you that there are so many people who admire what you do. I believe that Dr. Phil, you were once in the audience with him and he was talking. I'd like to show our audience the Dr. Phil clip, please.
Look, a lot of this is returning to health across the board. And one of those that is really helping us to do that is Dr. Jay Grossman from Homeless, Not Toothless, who has offered to help Kathy with a dental makeover as well. Thank you so much for offering to Ted and reaching out to them. We're going to have a link on drphil.com so you can learn more about this program, but God bless you for what you do. It's really amazing. And he does great work, I can tell you. So I really appreciate it.
Imagine there's no heaven. Sees if you try.
Dr. Phil adores you, as we do here in the studio.
That's sweet.
Well, there's a lot to admire about a young man, Dr. Jay Grossman, is sitting with me today, who truthfully started with a purpose in life to help people. I mean, you just did. Even in the Navy, you wanted to do something that was helpful, and there you were. The other one, there's a story, if you could tell our audience, about a 5-year-old or somewhere I was reading about that. What was that about?
So you're talking about John and his son?
Yes, and we're going to see the clip after you tell us.
So one day I'm working on a patient who came from one of the local sobriety clinics in West Los Angeles, and they called me up and they said, been working with him for years. They said, we have a gentleman here. He just hit his 6th month of sobriety. I said, fantastic.
Wow, great.
So send him in. So I send him in, and like so many people that have used meth and other opioids, there was nothing I could save. Right.
Oh,
So I mean, if you could picture
wow.
that, you know what it's like to say, "I'm sorry, I got to take out every tooth in your mouth."
Oh,
Right.
whoa,
So
wow.
now we go back to the challenge we just talked about.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, what's he going to do with no teeth, and how is he going to eat? So I said, great, I'm going to take care of you. And I took out all his teeth, and I made him a set of dentures. So while I'm working on him, I said to my assistant, who's been with me now for 27 years, I'm
Right.
kind of excited. This weekend, I'm going to be pouring some concrete, some cement at my house. And she's heard me say much stupider things, so she goes, just nods her head. And John raises his hand. I go, everything okay?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, no, that's fine. He goes, but do you need a hand with the cement? And I said, well, I've never mixed cement before, although I mix cement every day to glue crowns on people's mouths. And
Right.
it's a powder-liquid ratio.
Yeah, right.
I went to medical school.
Yeah.
How many ounces of liquid to how many? You know, it
A
can't
little
be
bigger project, but you know what?
okay,
It
a little
was-
messy,
yeah.
but I'm like, how hard can that be? So I said, sure. In my mind, I said,
Okay.
he probably needs a few bucks. He's looking for, why
Yeah.
not? So I give him my address. Now, to find me, I live deep in the hills of Malibu. I need GPS to find it. Well, sure, and this is before GPS, because this pig
Okay.
is 20 years ago. So he shows up 7 o'clock the next morning.
Are you kidding me?
Coffee's not even up yet.
Oh, my.
So anyway, I go outside and I show him the project I want to do, which is to put a retaining wall
Right.
on a hill. I've got 3 bags of concrete,
Okay.
and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
For a
And-
retaining wall.
And
Yeah, so you know there's something wrong with
Yeah,
that.
something
what did
is
he
not
do when
right.
he stopped laughing?
Yeah.
Right.
Something is not right
He looked
here.
at me. He goes, "Where's the rebar?" And I go, "What is rebar?" And then he goes, "Where's the wood?" I go, "No, a concrete wall, not wood." Well, apparently,
Right.
With a frame.
Oh, concrete's wet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It needs the wood to.
That's supported.
Okay, so let's say I didn't know what I was talking about. Is that
Okay.
fair enough?
Yeah.
So with that, he goes, "Okay, Doc." He goes, I need about $500 worth of more materials. So I go, "Great, here's $500." Well, 3 hours later, when he wasn't back, what's the first thought in my mind?
What did I do?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, sure enough, moments later, I hear the fender of this very old car dragging down the street because there's 2,000 pounds of concrete in the back, and the car could hold about 3 ounces, right? So he ends up building the retaining wall. That took 3 days. I allocated 20 minutes to the project. So needless
20
to
minutes
say,
probably a long time for you to do that.
20 minutes. Right.
Yeah.
Normally it takes me 3 minutes to cement the crown. I'm like, 20 minutes, done. So needless to say, I haven't mixed concrete since.
Right.
So 3 days later, the concrete wall's done, and I go, John, it's beautiful. It'll be the only thing that survives a 10.0 earthquake in LA, right? And I go, this is gorgeous. And I take out my wallet. I say, I apologize, I didn't ask you what your day rate was. Been 3 days. And he looks at me and goes, really, after I build this wall, you're going to insult me? And then I'm flabbergasted. I didn't know what I was doing wrong.
Right.
He said, how much money did you put in my mouth?
A lot.
And I had this moment because it really
Yes, that would
touched
catch
me.
me. Yes, it
like
would.
I'm like,
Wow.
No. I hired you. He goes, no, I volunteered. I'm done with handouts. I'm making amends.
Oh,
So
wow.
he was doing the
love that.
steps, and he was up to the amends step. And he goes, I'm making amends, and I'm cleaning up right now. So anyway, my wife hears this story. She goes, that's lovely. And we're done with the trade, barter, thank yous. I've got another project for you. You're bidding it out, and you're getting paid for it. So the next thing you know, he moved in with us.
I love it.
And he just redid every room of our house.
Oh, my
And
God.
every room's got his touch on it, and I think about him every day when I see my house, which is why when the Malibu fires took place recently,
Right.
it was the memories that I didn't want to burn down. And when my house was still standing, John was in that house.
Correct.
And I
well, love, and,
The love.
and
Right.
pride in what he did for you,
Right.
and the
Well,
respect he gave you.
And one of the things, we developed a very, very good relationship. My kids call him Uncle John. I mean, he lived with us for 2 years.
I want our audience to just see this part. We're going to show you how John felt about our dear Dr. Jay Grossman here.
Lacking the self-confidence after being out there for 15 years, just, running amok, I really had lost a lot of my drive. And that's the incredible part about the story is not only did Dr. J provide me with my dental needs and put a set of teeth in my mouth here, but he stood by me as a friend and as support in keeping my sobriety. And that was 4 years ago, and to this day, Jay is my very best friend. He is my mentor. He's my dentist. He's been an endless support and rock for me, a true pillar for me to maintain my sobriety. And he's my best friend. I love him to death.
What I wanted to ask you was continue it. There was a 5-year-old somewhere there. What was that about?
So, getting to know John, he moved in with us. We found out about his family, and the short story is that he started using drugs. He was married with a child, and he comes home one day, and there's a note on the refrigerator from his wife that says, "This is not what I signed up for. I didn't sign up for you to be a drug-using, father and husband." So she took off with the kid, and then he spent a year looking for them, using more and more drugs to fight his depression that he lost his kid. And I go, "How long ago was that?" Yeah. And he said, 14 years ago. Oh. So I asked for her name, and I go to the office and I Google her, and I found her in 6 minutes, 5 minutes, and I give her a call and I said, I believe your ex-husband's living with me. And she said, "John's still alive?" Because he was on the street. Right. And I said, and he's looking to make amends, and he wants to have a relationship with his son, but he didn't even know how to reach you. So I'm the intermediary. Right. Do you think he would be open for that? She goes, "Let me ask him." And he said yes. He was on the phone.
Love it.
And I said, he's 18 now, or 17 years ago. Right. And I said, "Well, can he fly out?" They were living in the Midwest. And she says, "Well, I can't afford that ticket, but he's free for the entire summer." So I sent the ticket. And while we're on the phone, and she goes, "The flight leaves in 6 hours." I said, "Yeah." So I go home and I said, "John, I need you to clean up and run an errand for me." And I said, "Can you go to the airport and pick somebody up?" He goes, "Absolutely." And he's leaving. He goes, "Which airport, which airline, what does the person look like?" And I said, "I don't know." And he laughed. And I said, do you think you would recognize your son?
Oh. Dr.
I'm
J.
going to cry.
Yeah, that was wow. I
well,
love that.
There was this pause, and he goes, "What?" And I said, "Taylor lands in 2 hours." And
great story.
And we both cried. He goes, "Are you kidding me?" Well, the kid came out, and he was going back in a week.
Right.
I ended up buying 5 tickets. I kept postponing it. He stayed the entire summer. He still calls me every Father's Day.
Oh.
And they've got a great relationship.
I tell you, the stories that we could go on and on. The one I want to get to, though, is Sharon Stone. I'd like to play a little clip first for our audience, and then let's talk about Sharon and you.
Okay, and go.
There's a Gandhi quote that I really love that says, "When you're lost, find yourself in the service of others." And I think Jay has been very masterful in doing this by creating Homeless, Not Toothless, because what's a better thing to give someone than the confidence of their smile?
That was fabulous with Sharon. Now, can you tell us how you and Sharon are now working together?
Well, this is where the whole circle of life comes in. John helped build Sharon's house decades early. And Sharon gave me a call on my cell phone. I didn't even believe it was her. I mean, right? And I'm playing around thinking, I said, did Dove put you up for this? Yeah. It was one of those things. And they go, "No, this is Sharon Stone." I go, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "Well, how can I help you?" She goes, "Well, I understand John's living with you." I go, "You know him?" She goes, "Yeah, he'll build my house and my sister's house." I go, "That's a true story?" She goes, "Most certainly." So she says, "I love what you're doing with these veterans and these homeless people, but what about children? What about children?"
There we go. That's
and
it.
I said, "Well, foster kids have care through the state." And she says, "No, Schwarzenegger, who was the governor, crossed it off. They were broke."
Yeah,
so the next thing you know, we got together and we helped build with one of the universities out in the Pomona area 7 clinics that currently see 15,000 kids a year.
Oh my Lord, that is fabulous.
And without Sharon's help and her influence and her connections, that never.
And without your help of John, that connection would never have been made.
Talk about a circle.
Yeah, it's a circle of life.
There's something that in Judaism and in Christianity we hear a lot, that when you save a life, you save the world.
Save the world, yeah.
And tikkun olam, of healing of the world, that's everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Sweetheart, you have something for Dr. J.
Well, I'm just so honored to be involved in this circle. Not only do we have something to thank you, but I had the privilege as president of the Los Angeles National Cemetery Foundation of hosting a town hall for our Congressman, Ted Lieu. And Ted Lieu chose Dr. J. Grossman as one of the veterans to tell story about his service to our country. So I want to thank you on behalf of his office and on behalf of the foundation at the National Cemetery. We've just issued a new coin, never been done. We've been around over 100 years. And we finally got around to making a coin, and we want to give it to very special people, and you certainly are one of those people. So on behalf of our board of directors and our director, Tom Ruck, thank you for everything you do for our veterans and for the community.
Thank you. It's beautiful. I'll cherish it.
And
Thank you.
Before we go, because time is marching by, the legacy that you would like to leave.
Yeah. I'm committed to leaving this planet better off than the way that I found it.
Thank you, God.
And I am looking for ways to do that, and I'm looking at what my skill set is. So my skill set is to provide dental care. Dentistry is something
that's your life,
that's
right.
my life.
There it is.
Well, if I could help do this and help people that don't have teeth aesthetically look good so they could go to work and to properly nourish themselves, that'll be my contribution. Right. So as you know, foundations are always looking for money.
Yes.
So one of the beauties behind Homeless Not Toothless is that we've been operating at a single percentage, like a 7-8% overhead every single year. How do we do that? Nobody gets salary. And if you take salary off the plate, you
That's
save money.
There you go.
Then I donate my office
Your
on the
time,
weekends.
right.
So I pay for my office with my dental practice. So the weekends it just sits there.
Correct.
So I got empty space. Then I go to the university and I supervise the fourth-year dental students before they graduate as an externship.
Okay.
So now I have hundreds of dentists which are not getting salary.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, we still have a $400,000 budget each year of cash that we need for the supplies and the lab bills.
So how can our people out there help you?
So obviously we'll take any donation, and it's all a tax write-off.
And where do they send this
So
to?
the website is HNT for
HNT.
for Homeless Not Toothless.
Right.
So HNT.dental.
Got it.
Real
Homeless,
simple.
not toothless,
Right.
dot dental.
Right, and that
HNT.
HNT. So you just need the letters.
Just
Now
the letters.
you could also go to homelessnotttoothless.org, but it's a lot more letters to type in.
Right.
And for those of you, as you came to this program, you saw pinkladypresents.com and her email. You can always send your information, your questions.
Right.
How do you donate? How can you help us help them? And we will forward that on.
Good.
What else would you like us to?
And the other thing, and this is the benefit of having an activist like Sharon Stone on the board. She says, look, you put in over 1,000 hours of actually reaching out for grants, $5,000 grants to $50,000 grants. She goes, let's just get $5 million as an endowment.
Love it.
And I said, well, how do
Love
we do
it.
that? She goes, I'm going to write letters to everybody that I know that could write a check. 1 or 2 people could write a check. We put the $5 million in the bank. We live off the interest. And Homeless Not Toothless now is a legacy.
Oh, I love that.
Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
You know what? I got tears in our eyes. I know Chaplain Deb have too. You know, as I said in the very beginning of my program, how fabulous it is in life to meet people who actually make a difference in this world. So it ain't over. It is never over until they, you, or I say it's over. God bless Dr. J. Grossman and all the work you do. Thank you, Sharon Stone. Not only are you beautiful, but you're a blessed creature. And I thank you. And first of all, I just want to tell our audience before we leave that I want to say congratulations to Dr. J. He just had his first grandchild, a little girl, born yesterday.
Hours ago.
Muzzle tough to you.
Hours ago.
Muzzle
Thank you.
tough
And he's
to you.
still here.
And he's still
sharing
here.
the story.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Thank you,
Everyone, thank you. We'll see you again next time. God bless everyone.
You're listening to Pink Lady Presents, only on LA Talk Radio.